You guys know that I have been dabbling in mortality thoughts, which come with some legacy thoughts. And as I look at ESPN right now, Unsportsmanlike, the morning show on ESPN radio, I wonder if our legacy right now is on the bottom part of the screen where they are graphically showing what the people are talking about. And the segment is called I'm Over It with an exclamation point. And then it just says producer Pat Costello shares what he's fed up with today.
I want to tune in.
Is that our legacy? Producers fed up with things. Producers getting microphones to say that they are fed up. I don't even understand actually the phrase fed up. Is it just that you've had so much food that it is now pouring out of your mouth and you're vomiting because you can't keep it down anymore? Is that why and how people get fed up? Or is it something with the slaughtering of chickens? Like what? How do people...
Slaughtering of chickens?
I don't. Look, Roy, I don't understand what's happening in the world. I was told the other day that at these Minecraft movies, teenagers are coming in with live chickens. And I'm like, what the hell?
That's not all they're doing, Dan.
How are people allowed in? Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Should you be allowed into the movie theater with a live chicken?
Also, they carry salmonella, and then if you touch your mouth or your face, you're going to get sick. It's a bad idea. Don't carry chickens into a movie theater.
Life principle words, if I've ever heard them.
Emotional support chicken.
It's my advice. Don't bring a live chicken to a movie theater.
I see that you guys are desperately looking up fed up, the origins of fed up.
I found it, but there was a couple words that I had to make sure that I was locked in on to come to air and actually say them. So fed up originates from falconry, Dan, where the bird of prey has been overly fed and no longer is willing to fly and hunt.
I'm seeing that it's British slang from around 1900, evolving from the phrase like fed up to the back teeth. So that's not helpful. So I'll keep reading.
I'm looking straight at you, and I'm saying, like, you are the one I'm looking at, and I'm like, producers who are overly fed and don't want to work anymore. Huh.
I'm looking right in the mirror, for sure. Not fed to my back teeth, though.
Yeah,
there's still room.
I've seen you hit that bacon and those sausages over there. I've seen you fed to the back teeth.
We keep the bacon industry going around here. No one eats bacon like this place.
I need to talk to you guys about some things on and off camera.
About bacon?
Well, they want to cut the food budget.
What?
Yeah, and I'm like...
Well, who does? That's an important distinction.
Samson.
David Sampson.
Porque no está aquí y no come. Of course, if everybody has 18,000 jelly beans in a bag, oh no, it's great. Bring your own jelly beans. No, I don't want that, Dave. Sorry.
In general, I gotta get a grip on Samson because he's just careening all over the place. And I'm happy to say that I have gotten a grip on Samson because I have brought in my big friend, corporate cleanser John Amaechi, who is very expensive, to try and get a hold of whatever it is the consequences are of the decisions that David Sampson is getting very close to, so that I can find some happy medium between nobody around here will wear costumes when I tell them to and don't take away their food.
Getting that friend discount? What's the deal with that?
Yeah, you hired a corporate therapist because we didn't want to wear costumes. Got it.
That's exactly right.
And you hired David because we eat a lot of bacon.
That's exactly right.
Stop that. Stop that. Stop that. I hear him chat from the noise. Move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the walking. Just too sharp with the prize. White girls better tell me I'm awesome, yeah. Hot like fire on the pan. If you wanna touch my please use caution. Cold like 0 degrees. I'm out the cage, gotta let out the beast. Revolutionary, gotta let out the streets. Locked in a cage, I'ma let out the sheets. We came for one, man, forget my peace. We take the west side, take on the east. I'ma put him in the cage, never let out the. I hear him chat to the noise. Move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the boys. Man so tough when mans keep walking, yeah. Just too sharp with the prize. White girls better tell me I'm awesome, yeah. Hot like fire on the pan. If you wanna touch my please use caution. Stop that. Stop that. Stop that.
The other thing about bringing in corporate cleanser John Amaechi in here in an emergency to get David Sampson away from your bacon is that John Amaechi getting in and out of this country now is something that feels more dangerous to him than going to Dubai. And so he is really coming in as a hero's gesture here for his friend in order to make sure that the food gets protected because David Sampson is trying to take away the food.
I got an idea. How about this? How about instead of what you're going to pay John, you pay it to me. I'll go around. I'll do it. I'll make sure everything goes. No, not cheaper. Same rate. I'm doing the same thing, baby.
Will you actually wear one of the costumes?
I'll wear whatever you want, Dan.
Well, no, but see, this the reason John Amaechi is here because I am the founder of this company, allegedly powerful, and I can't get any of you to, for our customers, pay grid of death punishments that make the show better. And symbolically, that is something I need help with. And
I'm just picturing him. What am I here for? For costumes? What's happening with this?
That's
pretty good, man.
That's pretty good.
No, that was not a good.
It was good. Wow,
it was,
a good break.
Austin Powers.
Bloody hell.
Who
throws the shoe?
It was very subdued Austin Powers.
Yes. Well, I will say in Chris Cody's defense, because he is willing to make himself vulnerable in some of the places that cause critique. Impersonations, if you're not confident in them, will immediately result in all of us seizing on what Jess did while not doing a better British impersonation.
Oh, please. I do plenty of impersonations. Also, Jeremy wore a ton of costumes last year. He didn't get a raise. So what's the incentive for wearing costumes around here, Dano?
To make the show better, Jessica O.
All right, Tony. Detective Tony.
First off, if we're pointing fingers, I wore my costumes when I lost. I did my thing. I was Jerry Seinfeld. I was a Matrix. I did 1,000 different costumes.
You did not do 1,000 different costumes. My guess is that you have some owed. And again, my frustration. I know everyone at this company is laughing about this at me. But again, the reason we do what I have always believed is a bad bucket of death segment is so that we get the payoff of the punishments. When you deny the audience the punishments of the payoff, we're now doing a bad segment that makes the show worse, and we're not paying our penalties in the way that the show is made worse. And so, symbolically, John Amaechi has rushed through danger in order to come here, save your bacon, literally save your bacon, and see if we can get anyone in here to just, take care of the customer. Because the customer kind of keeps us in business.
You gotta look like me.
I'm not going to criticize that impersonation.
You know who it was, though, right?
What's up?
Yeah, I'm going to ask who that is.
No, you don't have to.
What's
you know
up with all these costumes? What's up with all these costumes?
The other thing that I will do in defense of Jessica, because we all do it, it probably was a terrible impersonation, but I also can't do one that's better. And the risk around here in leaving yourself vulnerable on song or impersonations is that everyone will pounce on you. And so it deters anyone from actually wanting to take the risk of doing the impersonation. So, corporate cleanser is in town to see if he can make everything around here better. A couple of people who are not here right now, I'm surprised by one of them, because I thought for sure that Stugotz would be here today to talk about Rory McIlroy, to call him either Rory McIlroy or make him black by calling him Rory McLeroy, but he is not here today. And he will be here tomorrow. I don't know if he's home celebrating that golf had a moment yesterday. It's hard for golf to come by moments. Hell, Tony wandered over today, slapping his forehead, saying, I get it now. I get the Masters. I get golf. I get Masters Week. Chris, have you been trying to talk to Tony about Masters Week? Have you been trying to convince him? Because yesterday sold it.
I'm skeptical of Tony because he came in. Now I get it. I get it with the Masters. I'm interested to hear his take because it feels like there's going to be a pinch of sarcasm in it.
No, there's no pinch of sarcasm. I was watching. Obviously, we had an incredible game, last game of the day in the NBA yesterday. We had Clippers versus Dubs, which was incredible. We'll get to that later. But as that game finished, I was like, you know what? Let me go check out what's going on over at the Masters.
See what's what?
I put on CBS. We've got Rory coming down. We got Justin Rose, practicing, and they're going to him. The thing is, here's the ticket, Dan. Here's what I realized. Oh, I get it. I had the baby on top of me. She's sleeping. She's taking a nap. I kind of wake up from a little bit of a nap.
Sunday
myself.
Masters is great for that, by the way.
All of
Sunday,
a sudden.
the early holes Sunday Masters. Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Early holes Sunday Masters, good for a nap.
All of a sudden, my daughter's asleep. I kind of wake up from a little bit of a slumber after the post overtime game. And I'm like, oh, I get it. This is nice, relaxing. Look at Justin Rose practicing. He's hoping he's got one more shot. Oh, no. Rory's got one putt to sink. If he makes it, he's got the green jacket. He's got the career Grand Slam. It's over. He missed it. Oh, my God, we got a one-hole playoff. I was locked in, Dan. I get it now. Next Masters, I'm going to be in.
I can't believe the roller coaster that was that round.
Rory tried so hard to Rory. He tried, like he wins it, and there's some randomness involved with this. He gets to win. Congratulations. It's the great story. In fact, I would tell you now how many open stories are left in golf that could feel like that one, because it's pretty cool when someone cares like that. When you see someone who's a decorated champion, you have to understand, for all the criticism of Rory McIlroy not winning over the last decade, he has made a wildly lucrative, great career. He is exceptional at golf. He's one of the most popular golfers that there are. But he had a hole on his resume that he was carrying around in a way that hurt him, that didn't feel complete. And so I want to talk about that with you guys, and I also want to talk about that Clippers-Warriors game, because that was a lot of fun, and no one wants to play the Clippers. That team is dangerous, and that team has the legitimate chance, if they stay healthy. I said this last year of the Clippers, they're better this year. If that team stays healthy, they have the chance to be the single most surprising champion in NBA history after trading Paul George. But before we get to that, Greg Cody is also not here today because he is finally having that procedure done for whatever that thing is over his belly button, which I want to have brought in here. Please, Chris, tell me that you have told your father that he has to bring it with him after surgery to put in a glass case to see if we could top what I believe to be the greatest achievement in this show's history, which is getting thousands of people to walk in a line like a pilgrimage toward a glass case that had Greg Cody's toenail in it.
There's a little bit of confusion here, and we don't think he's getting something removed. We think he's getting a body part pushed back in.
Oh.
Yeah, and then they're putting it like essentially like a netting to like a wiring that like will keep it pushed back essentially.
I would like for you to please make sure that he gets some sort of remnant, heirloom, something.
Dan says, cut something out of Greg. We need a bit.
Physical flesh, not just a bit. I need to conquer the single greatest achievement in this show's history by doing something even more disgusting and a waste of the platform and power than having a pilgrimage of thousands of people to see a toenail, to see this thing that grew above Greg Cody's stomach. Can we please go to what I believe was the greatest moment that we had during 24 hours of freedom, when we did a bunch of programming with every talented person in our universe for 24 hours. And I don't think there was any programming better than what we showed at 4 a.m. after Adam McKay and Neil Brennan had spent a couple of hours reviewing Neil Brennan's movie. We got to see Greg Cody with a doctor in Indiana, Chris, a doctor who was up at 4 or 3 in the morning to do this examination from afar.
Yeah, but first I want to describe it to you so you're not too shocked. My navel is a small round circle, like the kid in Home Alone. And then above my navel is what looks like a broad, wide nose. I have a nose above my navel. Now, can I show it to you and you tell me what's wrong with me?
Let me ask you a couple of questions first. How long have you had this? Can you remember?
My whole life. Like, I cannot remember not having it.
Okay. And does it come and go, or is it always there?
It's always there. And as Mike Ryan can tell you, it's uncomfortably squishy. Like, I feel like if I pricked it, pus or something would come out of it.
I honestly expected it to be a little bit more gelatinous, but it's liquidy, closer to water than hair gel, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Water more than hair gel. Okay. Yeah, if you want to show it to me, that's fine.
Okay.
Move your all access pass.
See, white with writing on it?
Yeah.
I've never seen that.
Let's hold on. Let the camera zoom in on it. Like, stay still, Dad. There you go. All right. There it is, Doctor.
Okay. Okay.
It looks like one of
And
those
so,
Easter Island
If you
statues.
push on that, does it go in?
It does.
Ooh, that looks. Ooh, that hurts me when you do that.
I can
Stop.
almost hear it squishing.
Oh. He's
Okay.
speechless.
Wow.
He's assessing.
What's your assessment?
So, what I think is going on
Do you want to
is
see it
that
one
you
more time?
have.
Do you want to see it?
see it
Doctor,
again?
you want to see it one more time while you
Stunned, speechless.
diagnose?
Never seen
Just stay
anything
there.
like
Yeah,
it.
Stay there.
Don't
Greg.
move. Let him finish his answer until you sit down.
Proceed, Dr. Robert.
So, what I think you have going on is what's called a periumbilical hernia. So, you can sit down if you want.
That doctor, the look on his face seemed to me like he was questioning why it is he had gotten into medicine and how much he knew about medicine because of what he was experiencing there. Mike Ryan has now returned. How was your corporate cleansing? Did it feel good?
It's fine, Dan. I don't think I'm fully cleansed.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's keep working on that.
Yeah.
We'll see whether Amaechi can cleanse everybody or not.
Yeah, still grinding, still chopping.
I love that Greg Cody said he does not remember not having it. He does remember, however, seeing a Wilt Chamberlain game he never saw because nobody did.
Sylvania TV, though, Dan, black and white.
Yeah, he mentioned that.
Pablo's really mad at all of us.
Did I miss the Rory conversation?
We talked about
No.
it for a moment. We'll get to it in a second.
You
You were corporate cleansing.
Was the Rory conversation just 3 minutes long?
No,
We're
did
going to get
10
to
minutes
it.
on
We're going to
We're,
get to
we're
it.
still setting the table.
Okay.
And we're going to sit down and eat.
I'm in on the Masters, by the way.
Yeah.
Did you hear that?
How could you not be?
Thank you.
But
The
as you were,
Masters
as you
is
were.
the kind, well, I mean, golf in general is the kind of thing where when it's boring, it's really boring. It's very, you just kind of nap through it and you don't miss anything. But when it's good, like Sunday, it is so good. And this was like one of, this and the Tigers 2019 Masters, probably the two best Masters Sundays of my lifetime. And I don't know, I didn't think the Tiger one could be beat. I don't think it was beat, but I think this comes pretty dang close.
And I will get to that, even though Mike needs, obviously, a little more corporate cleansing to arrive late and say, did you guys already talk about something we've talked about? So we'll get him some more corporate cleansing. But you were saying, Jessica, about Pablo being really mad?
Well, because he did an entire episode about Wilt Chamberlain's 100-point game that we all admitted we didn't listen to, especially Greg Cody, because he claimed that he watched it on his TV in Florida when it was famously not televised. So, yeah, I think we sort of failed our partner
I disagree.
there.
I disagree. I think that Pablo can make his wonderful things and run around with his rhythmic gymnastics ribbon and then go over there and, spend time with Joe Scarborough as starch Joe Scarborough tries to make him the model minority on MSNBC that makes it okay for him to go to the White House. And Pablo needs to just do his job and not complain about what we're doing around here. And
Well, damn. Okay.
I agree with that.
we're fine here funding his projects and his fun, and he can be mad that occasionally we're not listening to them because Greg Cody surprises us by remembering something he shouldn't and couldn't remember. And he can do his job, and we will do our job. And
Sounds like a corporate cleansing. Maybe we should move everything up a few hours.
I've got to do corporate cleansing too. I'm not immune from corporate cleansing. John Amaechi is telling me a bunch of things I don't want to hear either.
I wasn't aware that we were making that content, but now I'm locked in.
Thank you. Well, if you'd gotten here on time, you would have known.
You
Again,
told me I could take as long as I needed.
another reason we need some corporate cleansing around here, because we shouldn't have to stop in the middle of what it is that we're doing to answer your questions on things
Mike,
we've already done.
You could do the second part with me because I stepped in and said, I can do what Amaechi's doing, pay me the same amount of money. We'll do it. So me and you go have a beer later.
I mean,
talk to me about
we've
it.
done that corporate Michael bit before. We can run it back.
No, this is Detective Tony, though.
No, this is Therapist Tony. Different bit.
pilot?
No, therapist is Billy.
So the Simpsons are the best of the cartoon shows, right? Like South Park famously hates Family Guy in a way that is public and really delightful because South Park is looking at Family Guy and being like, stand for something. How about you stop just making jokes all the time and just take a stand, Seth MacFarlane, quit doing jazz hands. And they don't mind telling you so. Like Seth MacFarlane has had a wildly successful career and the South Park guys are like, nah, don't like you. You're meaningless. You don't do important things. But Simpsons is the gold standard, correct? Simpson, even though, like, you're either, put it on the poll, Juju. This is a good question, actually. Just put Simpsons or South Park. Choose. You got to choose between them because they're different people. Those are, you have to choose a side here. You can't like both of them equally.
I do like them both. I don't like them equally. I like South Park more, but South Park also being a cable show could get away with more than Simpsons, which starting in the early 90s was on network television, appealing to certain family aspects that South Park didn't have to. I'm really excited that South Park is coming back, given everything that's going on in the teaser.
27 years, 28 years?
The teaser that they dropped is really South Park getting back to pop culture commentary, satire. So I'm really excited about that. I'm more of a South Park guy. I never really was a Family Guy guy, even though it was pretty funny. There was that South Park episode where they basically accused their writers of being a bunch of manatees that would just randomly pick different balls floating up in a tank to do their sketch, and I thought they did that very smartly. But I'm a South Park guy.
At Le Batard Show, choose Simpsons or South Park. Is it indeed 27, 28 years? Because both of those shows, I don't think that people understand. We have gotten crawling on our knees to 20 years. How hard it is to keep that ball up in the air over all of the things that can happen over 30 years, to continually and consistently make content that stands out. One of the things, somebody else who is doing that, who I have actually admired the run of his show as I've lost admiration for some of the things that he has done most recently, Bill Maher traded everything to sit at a table with Trump just because he wants the power of being next to Kid Bob and Trump. And so Bill Maher now tries to normalize Donald Trump because Donald Trump invited him to his house to have dinner. And Keith Olbermann, among others, is saying, quote, "I've known Bill since 1978. He was a shameless opportunist with no real principles then, and he remains so. This is so he can keep his HBO show." This is something that's happening, and it's one of the reasons that I wanted us to have freedom in 2024 with the microphones. Like, when my friend John Amaechi comes to this country and is legitimately scared more than coming to Dubai because he's gay and black and because this country seems more hostile than it has been in a long time, when that person is scared, some of the things happening while you laugh at dinner with Donald Trump are, and while Pablo's Scarborough from Morning Joe goes to the White House and normalizes some of the shit by saying, well, he's human. He laughs. But he's a pathological liar because now he's putting out on his health certificate that he's 6'3", 224 pounds. I'm going to say that again. Donald Trump is telling us that he's 6'3", 224 pounds. Can you guys just roll some athletes that are 6'3", 224 pounds or roughly thereabouts? And I know muscle weighs more than fat, but it doesn't weigh this much more than fat.
Are you suggesting that Donald Trump might be lying?
Pathological liar. We put up there 6'3", 225. That's wrong. It's 224. Like, he went out of his way. They're not going to believe 225. Let me make it a little more detailed. 225 sounds too clean. They're not going to believe that. Let me give you that little extra detail that pathological liars need to have. 6'3", 224 pounds. Why do you have to lie about that? Now, I understand a lot of people lie about their height and weight. To make it official, though, like, why? How can it has to be because it's pathological, right? It has to be because, like Stugotz, there's more fun in lying than there is in telling the truth.
Well, I mean, if he's gonna lie about other things, it stands to reason he would not be fully forthcoming with the thing that most everyone lies about, their height and weight.
I know, but putting it on, just making it official when it's just asinine, where it's a lie that can be checked by your eye. Like, most of the lies don't get checked by the eye.
I got to tell you, they have this. Keep your eye on the ball, though. This is just like the Gulf of America thing. That's why that placard's still in that office, to just rile you up and get your focus over there. You want to get your focus on the weight and height and weight. You won't worry about how are we tariffing laptops or are we not? Are we tariffing the battery inside? Is there a message? Are we all on message? Or are we just pausing, unpausing again? So I really, it's not the first time he's lied about his height and weight. It's just the most recent time.
But he's losing weight now. He was 240 before when he was lying about his weight.
Secretary.
Now he's 224. Just please roll that again, please. Roll as many athletes as you can find over the course of the
He is getting a lot of golf in, though. So, I mean, even more than the last time. So, maybe he does look a little bit better.
Anyway.
He looks good. No, he doesn't. He looks terrible.
Rory
he's looking better.
Rory McIlroy ends up showing us something that we are desperate to see from our athletes, and golfers. Show us that you care as much as we do. Show us that it means something to you after not winning a major tournament in 10 years and this one being the hole on your resume. It is really rare to see someone that happy putting on the green jacket at the country club because they are pretty staid about their emotions there. When Jessica mentions Tiger and the Masters, I think I could say to the entirety of the audience, one snapshot, all time, golf, give it to me. And it's Tiger chasing a putt at the Masters to the hole and then showing you the emotion of that robot that you know that has been like groomed since birth to be a robot that doesn't have a lot of public emotion. If you give me one snapshot on golf, not this century, ever, the one I'm going with is Tiger following a putt to the hole, pointing at it, and then just coming through with the emotion of it. And then yesterday I felt something similar with the way that Rory put on that jacket, caring about having that jacket more than anybody watching.
Yeah, the image of him falling to his knees, that's an all-time golf photo. There are so many great photos of that, and each time I flip through the photos, I'm like, this is the one. This is the one. And they just keep getting better and better. And it was really cool for him to win that. And I must admit, I wasn't a big Rory guy. I wanted to see, I guess it played out perfectly because I didn't really know how badly I wanted to see him have that moment. I just knew that I wanted to see him overcome adversity. And for a while there on the front nine, it looked like he wasn't going to have to because he had been dominating so much. For him to falter the way that he did, which was so on brand and replicates so many of the great collapses that he's had in his career, and still overcome with great shots, it meant so much because of how it had to go down for him to really conquer those demons in profound ways. And it was high drama. I mean, you got people hooting and hollering for golf at bars. It's crazy.
Well, thank you for saying that, because put it on the poll, please, Juju at Le Batard Show. Did Rory try to Rory? Because I would have liked somebody great to really be putting pressure on him to see how that would have gone. Like one of the greats. I would have liked for him to not be able to falter because somebody was coming after him like that. But when you mention sounds from bars at regarding golf, this is something that I do all the time and have been doing it since my wife and I met, because she does not care about sports and we live over a sports bar. So there are a variety of noises that come from the sports bar, and depending on both the schedule and the sound, she'll say, "And what's that?" And I'll be like, "That's Premier League," or whatever, because of what time of day it is. Yesterday, for the first time, and I'm saying she has asked me this hundreds of times, and it's always football, or that's a championship college basketball game, or that's a playoff game in college football. Yesterday, for the first time, we're walking the dog, and the bar explodes. And she's like, "What's that?" And I'm like, "Golf." And she's like, "No, it isn't."
It's the first time you've ever responded with golf, right?
Correct.
You've never been able to say, "That's golf."
Never. She didn't even believe me. She did not believe me, because what was then happening is a sound that you do not hear in any other sport except soccer, which is, on a putt. You don't hear that during a football game.
It's rare when that sport delivers in that way. It was the first playoff since 2017, and it was shaping up to be such a dramatic Sunday, and Bryson was going to be that guy, a potential all-time great chasing Rory and being the obstacle. And Bryson had his meltdown, and you thought, okay, well, Rory's just going to be consistent the entire time, and that's how he's going to put all these criticisms to bed. But I kind of want to see him have to deal with it. I want to see him make a pressure-filled putt. I want to see him miss a pressure-filled putt and then come back and hit great shots and nail a pressure-filled putt. And Rose had the day that he had. It was kind of weird because he was out on the range. You would have loved for the pairing and that additional pressure to be like literally right on top of him. But, man, that was just majestic. That was a great tournament the entire time. That was a great final round, especially the back nine. I'm so happy that it played out the way that it did. And it is pretty rare. There are no upset golf fans. Even if you're a live golf guy, even if you hate Rory, you understand what that story meant. There is not a single person that even casually follows golf that isn't super overjoyed for Rory McIlroy. And I'm so happy Rory met that moment with the emotion that everybody watching attached to it, because he was very clearly wearing it. It may not have been visible as he's walking down 16, 17. You can pick up on that, but the emotional release of that moment was an all-time payoff.
And then afterwards, he just admits, first hole, nervous. What other sports do you get that, where it's just he double bogeys the first hole, and it's just clear that this all-time great athlete is just nervous. And then he overcomes it, goes on a stretch, gets the lead, and then on 13, double bogeys, hits it in the water. I can't remember in any golf round. Usually in golf, you're either hot for a whole round, like the back and forth of choking, getting hot, choking again, getting hot was just. And I admit, I went into this, I was rooting against Rory. Wow. Just because I've always kind of been indifferent on Rory, and I think that the storyline of him needing a Masters was really all golf has at the moment. So I was like almost nervous for golf, almost rooting for the storyline to continue. But you see the emotion, and I flipped. I was like happy for him. Like Mike said, nobody's watching that. Even if you're rooting against Rory, you get how long he's been 11 chances to get the fourth major. And every other golfer that has all the majors has done it in 3 chances or less. 11 tries it took him. Just brutal.
You were rooting against Rory?
I was. But not in a way, not like anti. I don't dislike Rory. I just wanted to see.
Who did you want to win on Sunday?
Bryson? I had money on Oberg.
Oh, yeah.
That's tough.
I had pretty much everybody but Rory. I was betting for Rory to collapse, and
well, that's different than, I guess, if you're betting, it's not different than rooting against him. But
this may come as a shock. I also like Bryson DeChambeau, despite him doing a lot of things that
it doesn't really come as a shock.
What?
I don't think that comes as a shock.
Really?
No.
Bryson has kind of done work to
corporate cleanser.
His image has flipped a little bit. Like, I know that he still has the live stuff, but Bryson with his YouTube channel, I feel like, the high fives. It was funny, Bryson, because he is riding the, hey, I'll talk to fans. Because Rory famously doesn't even look at fans. So Bryson was very excited with the high-fiving fans until he went 6 over the first 4 holes. Bad. And you could see him just being like, I still got to do this high-five thing, even though I'm choking.
It was interesting, though, that Rory ended up playing against Rose, who was ahead of him, because when that happened, like it felt like it. Like you said, Chris, it would have been easier if Bryson was having this bad round. Rory started off sluggish, but then started playing better, and he just sort of coasted home. But Justin Rose had like the round of his life on Sunday. It took it to the playoff, and I thought that made it even more interesting. And so then Rory goes into the playoff against someone who's won a major, but has lost in a playoff before, who he's friends with, who he knows really well. And so it just made it a really interesting dynamic at the end that it was those two playing for the Masters win against one another instead of Bryson, who had sort of lost it early in the first half of the day.
I would have thought that if it was Bryson versus Rory, I think Rory's head is in a different place. I think the fact that it was Justin Rose, he's friends with Justin Rose, I actually think that helped Rory. I feel like if it was like somebody like Bryson, then we might have seen Rory get in his head again.
It's the only way it could have maybe been a little bit better.
It could have been better if Scheffler was chasing him, or if one of these giants was chasing him.
Scheffler had a good final round, but the only way that it could have been better for me is if the person that was applying the pressure was paired with him. and they're going shot for shot. That was what the whole appeal was. That's what it was looking like. Oh, man, Bryson and Rory have been going shot for shot this entire tournament. Hopefully they deliver on Sunday. Bryson didn't hold up his end of the deal because that's an additional pressure. Now you're going to try to have to make this putt with Bryson DeChambeau over your shoulder. It's a different kind of pressure, and it's the only way that you could have framed it a little bit cooler.
I believe there are other ways to have framed it cooler by just making it something that didn't allow him to Rory, because he was still Rorying and not paying for it because he was compensating, but there could have been someone out there making him pay for that. Like somebody who's better at golf than he is, even though he's exceptional at golf.
Yeah, he fell back to the tide. There were guys that had great rounds, Scheffler among them, but it was just they had to make up too much ground there. So, like, I hear you. I don't disagree. I'd much rather Scotty Scheffler be standing over his shoulder, but the distance between them heading into the final round was such that it was Bryson. That was supposed to be the guy that held up his end of the deal, and he didn't.
I also think that him having some pretty bad shots actually made for a better final round, because then he had to make some of the literally like the best shots of his life to win it. And like he put the pressure on himself by choking a couple times, but then it turned around and it was like Chris said, it was like one hole you were like, Jesus Christ, man, like you were blowing it. Yeah. And then the next hole is like, holy shit, that was incredible. I don't know how he put it through the trees and got it that close to the pin.
Let's play some sound so that you can hear in his own words what the emotion was for Rory McIlroy.
But, you know, there's talking about it and actually doing it. And, yeah, today was difficult. I was unbelievably nervous this morning, really nervous on the first hole, as you witnessed with the double. But, as I said, that sort of calmed me down. And, you know, I was able to bounce back and show, you know, that resilience that I've talked about a lot. And, yeah, no, look, it was a heavy weight to carry, and, you know, thankfully now I don't have to carry it, and it frees me up, and, you know I'm coming back here every year, which is lovely.
I read some stories about, as I do every year, what an economic insanity the Masters is. Like, there are people there who pay for their mortgages by just Airbnb-ing their homes for the week. One of the things that golf does extraordinarily well, put up the emotion again of Rory just walking through here, where the entire story that goes back decades, you can actually see on his face. Do you realize how incredible the access is here? Because all throughout sports, contractually, there are all sorts of interviews, sideline interviews. Let's talk to this person now. It's all manufactured nothing. Look at this as the access where you are closer to this human being than anyone in the world, as he feels the best things he's ever felt at golf. And one of the reasons this tournament is because of how sacred the televising of it is, and Nance is whispering the whole time that he's talking about this.
Oh, the production knocked it out the park. That was just such a well-produced moment in time, and the afterglow was just delivering and made it that much better. I remember like the celebration more than the tremendous day of golf, and it was awesome.
This is the last event where, obviously because they banned cell phones, people still wave their hats like this, right, when they're celebrating? What's another event where people are waving their caps in the air?
Horse racing, they still do it, right?
I've never seen it.
Yeah, I think at the Kentucky Derby, it's still part of the...
People wave their caps?
Yeah, it's still part of it.
Oh, man.
Can we shout out the camera guy walking backwards with Rory through this? Because I'm telling you, there's a lot of hills. This is not an easy walk to walk backwards. He did it for like
Shout out to his grip, who probably has a hand on the back, coiling, saying, go this way, go that way.
Do me a favor, please, video, and I will wait and filibuster for you to do this, because the best camera work that I saw this weekend before this is when somebody on Twitter sent out what they called the best camera work they've ever seen of a diver being attacked by an octopus. Please find that video so that we can play it here. But in the interim, can you find me an artificial intelligence, Stugotz? This is part of what I'm working with John Amaechi on, seeing what we can do to improve our corporate culture around here. Can we get some Stugotz talking about what it is that he witnessed yesterday? Because I'm assuming that most people want to hear Masters Week, Dano, from Stugotz. And also, I want to put some bets in for tomorrow on whether, when Stugotz gets here tomorrow, how many times he will call him McIlroy instead of McIlroy, because he's got a weird golf dyslexia that only applies to Rory.
the screen right now, this is the cameraman walking with his guy behind him, guiding him where to go. Shout out to both of them. The Grips, they never get the credit they deserve. Shout out to the Grips.
Oh, Dano, I thought you'd never get to me. Masters Week. Rory, congrats, McElroy. You finally did it. Now do it again next year. And do it without a playoff. Playoffs. Best words in sports. Top 5 best words in golf. Number 5, hole-in-one. Number 4, Augusta.
Hole-in-one is not a word.
Number 3, hello, friends.
That's not a word either.
Number 2, playoff. Number 1, it's Sunday and Tiger's in the hunt.
Put up that video
That's my list.
of an octopus attacking a scuba diver's face. This is this is good camera work right here.
Chris Cody.
Nelly! Barbara Streisand, yeah! Put your hands up, Little Richard! Elton John, it's your song! Andrea Bocelli! Another one, Tony Bennett! Frankie Avalon!
He's somebody that you used to know! Put your hands together for Gautier!
Alan Parsons Project! I'm up to something. It's Huey Lewis and the news.
He's so mad at himself right now. He's throwing
All right,
things.
go walk into the ocean.
What?
Oh my God!
Oh, Billy's giving him a hug. He is so upset. Oh, it's gonna stick with you for a while.
It's Hootie and the Blowfish.
You back?
You're back, man.
Are you ready, Chris Cody? I see him mouthing words. Just get to it. I don't think it's funny if you're sitting there trying to do research and reading. Just let's put
Let it fly, man.
Let's and tell people.
Wait,
Look,
are we all playing different roles? I'm playing Banquo, and there's no Banquo on my sheet.
Oh, okay.
I
I was going to give you the role of Duncan.
Oh, no, I don't want Duncan.
I'll be
You don't want
Duncan.
Okay.
okay, so we're gonna do this. All right, I love this
Who's
right
Malcolm?
now.
I'll be Malcolm.
Okay.
All right, everyone's ready. We're doing this on the fly.
Cody is Surgeon.
Yeah, Surgeon. Yeah.
Okay, so
Oh, this, 7 paragraphs. That's me? Okay, thanks.
But you've read it already,
Wait a
Chris.
minute,
You've read it
spoiler
already.
alert.
Yeah.
Quit cheating and reading already. Let's do this. Let's do it correctly. I did not think this is where we would end up before a football weekend.
So glad we did, though.
Doing Shakespeare as a unit, improv on the fly. Mike
They
hasn't
just
done.
put words in these sentences that don't belong. It's
Quit
like,
reading
why?
it. Read it for the first time live. It's funnier that way. Mike Ryan is producing an impromptu version of his high school life. And here's some Shakespeare. It's done by the Dan Le Batard Show with Stugotz. We've stolen the exclamation point officially from Get Up. It's put after the word show.
So this is Act 1, Scene 2 of Macbeth. The stage instructions are a camp near Fours. Alarm within, enter Duncan Malcolm.
Plight of the revolt, the new estate.
This is the sergeant, who like a good and hardy soldier fought gainst my captivity. Hail, brave friend! Say to the king the knowledge of the broil as thou didst leave it.
There were a handful of interesting things from basketball yesterday, very quietly and surprisingly, given that I'm going to say 4 or 5 years ago, nobody in Miami with the Heat or otherwise wanted Chris Paul. And Chris Paul yesterday, at the age of 39 years old, finished playing all 82 games in a regular season when we all thought that he was done 3, 4, 5 years ago. A testament to all of the science and different things being done by nutritionists and body workers to allow the aging process to play out differently. Also interesting as it regards playing time. Mikal Bridges of the Knicks playing for 6 seconds and just committing a foul so he can continue his Iron Man streak, 550-plus games. Asinine to do it that way. Gotta get it how you live, Dan. Just asinine to do it that way. That is not an Iron Man. That is just an accounting. That is an accounting.
Come on, what are you doing? No, I think the asinine part is that they're just holding him out. So, they're going to end his streak because of load management. I think that's a bigger issue than him, just trying to use whatever he can to keep it going and just foul somebody and be cute about it. The fact that we're just all resigned to load management is just a thing that comes with that sport.
I'm going to say it here first. Knicks are in trouble. I'm going to put that out there. Just going to push that boat.
You're not the first one to say that.
You're a Pistons guy.
On this show, nobody
No.
said the Knicks are in trouble. Yes, Stu hasn't been here in 6 years.
Amin said it 4 days ago.
That's not true.
The Knicks are in trouble.
I'll let you be the second.
The Knicks are in trouble because they're 0-8 against the Cavs and Celtics this season. And those are the two teams they got to be better than, and they're not better than either one of those teams. And that's why they're in trouble. That's a good Knicks team. That Knicks team is one of the best 7 or 8 teams in the league. It's a good team, but 0-8 against the Celtics and Cavs this year.
Take it or leave it, Tony. Do you want to be the second?
No. The playoffs started.
You cannot be the first.
The playoffs started. The lineups are set. Everything is set. I'm the first one to say it. Knicks are in trouble.
You're the second. That's all I'm going to give you.
The Knicks also finish 0-10 against the top 3 teams in the league because they lost both times to OKC.
And Jaime Jaquez scored 41 points.
Well, let's talk about that one for a second. Hold on. Pull out that box score for a second.
This last Sunday of the NBA season is the greatest day. Pat Connaughton, 43 points. Landry Shamet, 29 points. It is just, oh, my God.
I think I've got better for you. I want to look this up. You guys help me because I have not looked it up, okay? The last day of the regular season is wonderful because the Miami Heat can conclude the worst season in recent memory by losing at the buzzer to a 19-year-old bub. That is, I'm going to guess, the first time that a game winner has ever been hit by a 19-year-old, although Kobe may have done it. I'm just guessing there, and the reason I'm going to guess there is because it's the first time a 19-year-old has ever been allowed to take the game winner. That's not something that we do in that sport. Bub Carrington, let's look at that box score because we're going off into the fringes of the NBA. The best stuff in the NBA yesterday was twofold. A bunch of 30-year-olds playing for a week off, playing as hard as they can so they could get, I don't want to do any playing games. And then Denver doing that to Houston because we know Denver's going to do that to Houston if they see him in the playoffs. Houston doesn't have anything for Denver that way. And the quote I'm looking at on Malone from an anonymous source, quote, I cannot say any player was vouching for Malone at the end. Not a player was vouching because, and in the story that I read, he's very emotional. He gets very intense with the bad. He cries with the good. And one of the things that was happening is Michael Porter and Aaron Gordon are like, I got real world issues that aren't as important as this back-to-back. Like, I got real profound sadness in my life that is much harder than what you're doing to me when I get to work. And the disconnect, evidently, is something that made him get fired, and the Nuggets remind you yesterday how it is that they won a championship a couple of years ago.
I think the tough part is when you have a fiery coach like that, it's super emotional, super like screaming. That coaching style only has such a shelf life. And it's usually to win you a championship, and then it kind of flames out. Like, people have been talking about this earlier, smart basketball people have been talking about earlier. Hey, the Mike Malone situation in Denver, there's something up there.
You saying that, I believe, is common perception and common knowledge. But in all of the coverage that we do of sports, when we make these people not human, and we just file something under tuning him out, tuning a boss out, do you realize how oppressive an environment has to feel in order for a bunch of people paid millions of dollars to play a game to say, bleep this boss, I'm going to stop playing well. I'm going to stop playing my hardest because of how unhappy I am with the person who's in charge here. Do you realize how human that is? Any of us can understand it, but to be professional is to not be that. You do understand, right? That to be professional is to, you get in there and you give everything you've got every single time. But to be professional is often not to be human.
Still looking for a more comprehensive list, but I found at least 4 19-year-olds that have hit game-winning baskets at the buzzer. A.J. Griffin of the Atlanta Hawks, LaMelo Ball did it. You were right to invoke Kobe. LeBron James also did that. Rare when you're trusted with that responsibility at 19, but certainly something that happened in the NBA after the turn of the century more often.
And it goes to show you when your star players kind of tune you out and don't really care about what's going on. Jokic's last games with Michael Malone, 61, 33, 41.
You mentioned Ball, and I wanted to ask you something that I saw in a YouTube ad the other day, but I didn't really recognize what it was. So help me, because I'm offering you information on something that I saw that I have partial information on. So it's a Lonzo Ball commercial, and they're talking about his big hands, and they say something about blue balls, and they say something about bust balls, and I didn't know what it was a commercial for. It was gone very quickly, and it was obviously a Lonzo Ball commercial for something that involved the word ball.
Was it LaMelo or Lonzo?
I thought it was Lonzo. I didn't think it was
he's
LaMelo.
Still getting work?
I thought it was a Lonzo Ball commercial, and he's back, by the way. He's not his brother, obviously, but I just simply didn't know what it was for, and I didn't look it up, and I was confused after seeing it. But I did want to talk about that Clippers-Nuggets game. And I'm putting in front of all of you the idea that as the Mavs last year were a surprising team to have in the finals, them beating OKC and Luka getting there, established Luka as a better player than a lot of people knew he was, even though everybody knows that he's plenty good, because of how far he advanced in the playoffs and how surprising it was that he advanced in the playoffs. I saw all of you wince a little bit when I said that the Clippers would be the most surprising champion in NBA history after trading Paul George, if they are able to stay healthy enough to do damage in the postseason. But as the Warriors are now in the play-in, okay, and Draymond Green is saying, don't worry about them, that that we're not senior citizens, he says. We're high-level basketball players. Will be fine. No disrespect to senior citizens, which I love that he threw in at the end. Draymond learning. No disrespect to senior citizens, all of whom are on Inside the NBA, critiquing the games. The Warriors now have a much harder path because they've got to go through Memphis, they've got to go through the play-in, and then they're going to play top seeds. A fascinating series in the first round is Lakers-Minnesota. Like, that's just – I didn't know who the Lakers were going to get, but I was going to be interested in whoever it is that the Lakers got. But I want to talk about the Clippers because do you understand how rare it is to get to the postseason with a team that nobody's been talking about and to be like, oh, they're good enough. That team is absolutely good enough. Like, that's exactly the team that takes out an OKC, where it's like, oh, they got all the 30-year-olds and they got a post presence who's going to, like, it's just crazy to watch what it is they're getting from their center, Zubac, alongside Harden and Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard, by the way, give me a stat of the day here. I've got a good stat of the day for you guys, as we have obsessed around here about Jimmy Butler.
Start of the day, start of the day. It is your start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. It is your start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. It is your start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. It is the start of the day.
I am really, really rooting for Kawhi Leonard to remain healthy this postseason because of this stat I'm about to give you, and I'm just going to remind you of what the last 8 years have brought in basketball and how long ago it seems that Kawhi Leonard won a championship by himself in Toronto. Jimmy Butler has not beaten Kawhi Leonard, and this is a bit of a trick here, because obviously load management makes it so that Kawhi Leonard misses a lot of games. But Jimmy Butler has not beaten Kawhi Leonard in a regular season game since 2016. Because Kawhi Leonard is better at the Jimmy Butler things than Jimmy Butler is, and has been for 8 years. He's just never healthy. So Jimmy Butler gave you 48 minutes yesterday. They went maximum playoff Jimmy to try and get that week off. And he's hurt now because he got hit in the thigh. They put everything into, we're going to beat the Clippers at home and avoid this hard road because we need to get a week off. We're going to go Jimmy Butler all 48 minutes. Jimmy Butler, please play like Jimmy Butler does in the playoffs. And he did, and they lost at home anyway.
The issue is, too, like, Jimmy now being hurt with a contusion in the thigh after colliding with Kawhi midair. You got Steph, whose thumb is hurt, right? Had a lot of turnovers. Again, had 18 points in the fourth quarter. Looked incredible. Draymond is Draymond. He had that neck. I don't know if you saw that play, Dan, where he kind of went in for a steal or something and then got hit in the neck, had a stinger or something. So, like, they're banged up as it is, and they already don't have a good track record in the play-in as that goes. So it's like there's a lot of things happening right now where they could get bounced possibly.
Age is super interesting this time of year, and the perspective I have from Miami, where I'm watching for 13 games of press the gas on a 35-year-old. Oh, they never lose, they never lose, they never lose. Lose 3 out of the last 5, try as hard as they can at the end, and not as good enough, not good enough to beat the Clippers because the Clippers can beat anybody.
By the way, to close the loop, it's a LaMelo Ball commercial, Puma, the one about puns on balls.
For sneakers, not balls.
Well, it's a sneaker commercial.
About the balls.
Yeah, but they make a bunch of puns on balls, and that is a fine. So the Miami Heat, it was pointed out to me by a hater friend of mine, we're one season away, the Miami Heat flirting with the play-in again. For that stretch, the Miami Heat playing the Chicago Bulls in the play-in tournament and not fully punching their ticket to the playoffs without having to play more games for the same amount of time that they had the big 3 in town.
Oh, damn.
4 years, like, they went 1 seed, play-in. One more season of this, and it's as long as LeBron James and Chris Bosh and Dwayne Wade were all teamed together down here chasing championships.
Mike, I feel like I'm going to lock you in here for a second, okay? Now go back to a couple of seasons ago when we said, hey, there's a percentage chance that all of a sudden there could be somebody very interesting in town if you tank the play-in game. The Heat need to tank the play-in game. There's a 2% chance for Cooper Flag. 2% chance.
Oh, I thought we were talking about Wemby again because I was going to say Mike doesn't like Wemby. So
Yeah, well, they should have tanked for him.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, they should tank again because this is a nowhere team going nowhere.
2% chance.
I would prefer them lose. So that's where I'm at because it's not even like before where you had proof of concept at least that they can go on a crazy run from the play-in to the NBA Finals. Like, I think we all know this team is toast, so I'd rather them just lose and bow out gracefully.
But people are pretty tired of you speaking for the Heat fan base when you haven't watched most of their games this year and you don't actually care about what happens with the team because of all the things you've been saying for 4 years,
Understood.
which is they're not good enough. But people...
Understood. I'm also tired of their bullshit. The people and the team.
What are we doing here? Masters Monday. This is ridiculous. By the way, If you won the Masters and Tiger wasn't in the field, you didn't win the Masters.
Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. If you won the Masters and Tiger wasn't in the field, did you win the Masters?
In my personal record, Stugotz.
I like this character. I want you to keep working on this character. Stugotz as golf analyst. I don't know how much more. I'm going to reach out to Scott Van Pelt, see if he wants to come on with us. Tony Reali is going to be on with us in a second. Because I do want to talk more about the celebration of sport, which is not something that we get to do all that often, it feels like, around the athlete giving you the emotional vulnerability of, I was hugely nervous, I conquered doubt. You know, while watching this, that this feels good to me for reasons that can be identified by what is the customer-athlete relationship, the following of an athlete around. You know the story that's walking down at the end with that camera in his face, and you're reading the story. He's not saying anything. Rory McIlroy is walking, and the visuals are so striking because it's not merely the emotion you see on his face, it's the entirety of the story. Like you could watch this, watching something for the very first time and not knowing anything about golf, and you can see what a majestic moment that is for a human being who is filled with such gratitude that it can't be kept inside. It leaks out of his eyes. And it leaks out of his eyes not in the way that normally does with a producer on the morning show getting fed up, and that's the way the emotion leaks out. That is pure, undistilled joy and relief. And it's not just his face and the emotions that are telling you that. You have more access as a sports fan to the average viewer than the average viewer because you know what this story is. You know what he was carrying and what the relief of that is as he's walking. And anyone can identify with the superhuman people being human.
And for it to line up somehow, the stars were aligned, for this to be a part of Jim Nance's 11-year farewell tour. You know that after they delivered that broadcast,
oh yeah,
Jim Nance addressed
he looked the same
team.
way. No, he looked the same way.
Oh yeah, he walked into
off.
the post broadcast cocktail hour reception for producers, directors, technicians alike. Walked in the very same way and told that group of people, "We just reported the news."
You know, he pointed to somebody and said, "Get me an Arnold Palmer. And let's put some lighter fluid in there." Like and just whispered his every conversation of how great it was this, how great am I?
Yes.
And you're great at all those things. You are as great as you think, Jim. And I know you don't lack for confidence. Do you think he maybe loosened the tie just a little bit?
I believe that Jim Nance over the last 10 years has slowly, by very small fractions, loosened the tie, giving way to, I'm going to be looser in retirement while I retire for 11 years. I thought of Tony Reali yesterday while watching Rory because he was emotionally available. And I believe that Tony Reali in the media is one of the rare people who's perpetually emotionally available. The people who watch Around the Horn have this connection with him over many years. He's proud of being emotionally available. I'm a little bit ashamed of how emotionally available he is. I'm like, be less emotionally available, Tony. And I say that as somebody who's weepy.
Yeah. I mean, I have a child screaming in the background, very emotionally available at the moment, Antonella. So you sent me a note and you said Rory's crying and it made me think of you. Thank you for that. So when people cry now publicly and share their emotions in a public space, you think of me. I thought it was amazing. And I know that's a haymaker of a joke from Mike there. I have to give the CBS team all the credit in the world. They nailed that. That was pitch perfect the whole way. Jim Nance didn't talk for 3 minutes. I'm gonna put the stopwatch on it. But Nance and Immelman did not talk for 3 minutes while the cameras followed and Rory the whole way. And this is a moment in sports. I'm not the biggest golf fan in the world. I don't think you are either, Dan. I don't know if you've ever covered Augusta before. This is one of those moments that it hits you so quickly. This is real. But this is unpredictable for me because I didn't see this coming. I didn't see this much emotion coming from a guy like that. And I loved it. I loved every second of it. Every second of it. I was in awe of how you can get the heaving, weeping in real time like that. Because so much of what we do now is routine. I think about this on the TV show all the time, right? We use the word, this is a surreal moment, right? What we saw with Rory was a surreal moment. I go the other way. That's a real moment. That's not surreal. We have taken so much of what's real and made it just routine. And just, this is the way we do things, this is the way it goes, that it ceases to be what we just saw yesterday. So that's not surreal yesterday. That's real.
You mentioned that I'm not much of a golf fan. I can say with honesty now that the statute of limitations is up, that my least favorite thing to do anywhere in the empire you exist in with Rydholm and Kelleher was the Masters Thursday PTI that I had to do when everyone was out and no one wanted me in. And all of a sudden I'm talking about Vijay Singh is up by a stroke after 9 holes. And I don't really want to be talking about it for 90 seconds.
I remember this. I had given you a research packet that was 4 pages thick of what I'm also not that, but I knew I had to bone up for that, and I knew we had to talk about it because golf's different. Golf fans are different, right? It's a sport, and this is why I think it was so readily available for viewers yesterday, right? It's a sport that the viewer is still playing. The viewer may have played that course, not specifically Augusta. That's a hard one to get into. But when you talk about the other golf tournaments, so they may have played that course. They have a tangible feel for what this is, what they're seeing right in front of them. I mean, we can't say that. You never kicked a 30-yard field goal in the Super Bowl, but you've swung that club at 11 at your local golf course before. So people love that too. But you're right. I mean, this is not everybody was prepared for the conversations, but you're prepared for that emotion.
Do you guys does the group have any nominee for what has to happen in golf outside of Tiger doing something that closes a chapter for you the way that this does? Like, give me somebody in golf that you're looking for something from. That
no, let's not. I mean, this had all the elements that you would want because of the Live versus PGA battle. So that's something. You could not be a golf fan or know nothing about golf, and you'd be like, these two guys are sworn enemies, DeChambeau and McIlroy. They're not talking. So that it serves sports fans who want to view sports in that way as well. I mean, that's what's great about it. And then you have another guy, Justin Rose, is on the course, and he's everybody's good guy. And then you have Rory, and then you have Rory's family. I mean, so it works on all the notes of it. So I that's why I could be in this moment last night and feel almost like I'm ready to start crying watching Rory McIlroy. And I know other fans had that feeling, and I wasn't sure you were expecting it when it happened. That's why live sports is still the best thing out there.
Last time you were on with us, it was in our history the single worst backdrop and hair situation we've ever had. You seem to have cleaned up the whole thing.
You told me a minute before I was on air. Now you gave me a 10-minute notice, and now I don't know. What do I have behind me here?
What is this? It's a lot of children's stuff. You are. So tell me that you're going to do something after Around the Horn in the parenting space. You must.
I'm definitely going to do that. Yes, you know this about me. So I spend my weekends, much like Stu now, traveling the world and watching our young people play sports. And that is an incredible thing. You know a little bit about my sports history, Dan, right? Bring it up. You want to do it. Go ahead. When I was 23 years old, you heard stories about Pardon the Turnover, the basketball team we had, and how I would attack referees verbally in games.
Yes, I don't know if they have we told that story here? We've told everybody here that you were an out of control menace as a young early 20s person that isn't the person that he is today, and you would get.
Well, no, I was just high energy, I think, but I was Ron Artest in a lot of ways.
Okay.
And our dearest friends, Matt Keller, shouted Suzuki.
Wait, Tony, why are you like Tony? What do you
Ron Artest? That's a grading scale that goes really high.
What do you imagine? Let's examine this for a second, as Reali wants to tell the story or is willing to tell the story.
Yeah.
Reali was bad to referees, and I told him he needed to stop being bad to referees. Yeah. What do you imagine him saying he was Ron Artest looked like?
I imagine there was more than a few times where there was a bad foul call, and Tony and the ref were nose to nose. That's what I think of.
He mutes the ref. You're muted.
Yeah, the ref gives a T, and then I give a mute button underneath. No, my friend. I was a big believer in this exchange. That's not your call. That's not your call.
That's also true. It's his call. It's his call over there.
There was always another referee that had a better view of it. So I was a big believer in that.
And then what?
After I had done that for 10 consecutive games and got on everybody's last nerve with just the energy and all that, I did have a fluke incident that changed my life, right? This is a baseline that has about 1 foot worth of space before you're at a wall. You can't move on the baseline. And I'm trying to inbound a ball, and the referee's on the baseline with me, and I whip a pass, and it clips the whistle in the referee's mouth. Now, this starts gushing blood like it was Old Faithful. It's ridiculous. And this young referee had to go to the hospital from a pass that I threw. And this was it. That changed everything for me. Went to the hospital with them. It was, maybe nothing. It was a chipped tooth. It really wasn't anything.
You held his hand with guilt, remorse, compassion.
Absolutely. So I had that come to God moment right there. Like, I was having fun. I was playing. I was enjoying the give and take with referees. They were not enjoying it as much. And then a fluke accident happens. And now you get this moment where it's just like, did you do that on purpose? Of course not. But here I am. And that changed everything for me. This is a long way to tell you now that I'm a parent at games. I'm the exact opposite of that. It's all enjoyment for me. I love it. There's nothing in the world like it. I love talking to the other parents and seeing how they're navigating it. And now it strikes me that this is a conversation that I want to have going forward. I want to form for the parents of their young athletes as we all watch our kids play and the emotions that come with it, because you can ask any parent and it's more stressful for them. I love these shots at the Olympics where they are now tracking the beats per minute of the parents watching their child compete in their event. That's an amazing thing. I'm going to do a show on this. I'm going to have a space for this. And I do think I have a core belief here. I was telling my daughter this yesterday when we came back from a game. Parents at games, you're going to be stressed. You're going to want your kids to succeed. You're going to be nervous. You're going to be all these things. The real thread here that I want to underline for parents is it's not that game. That's the thing. You're going to forget that game. You're going to forget who won or lost. Your child is definitely going to forget that game and who won or lost. It's that 90-minute car ride to and from wherever you're going for that game. That's when parenting happens. That's when the connection with your child happens. So I want to have those conversations with parents, because that ride to the game, that ride from the game, that's what you remember. Those moments. Yeah, give me some points for that.
It's schmaltz. It's syrup. It's schmaltz. It's exactly what will get you points on Around the Horn. Just do something syrupy and schmaltzy that America can just eat up. It's just all sugar.
And by the way, Tony, I get it. Watching the kids play, it's more of a cathartic experience. It reminds you of when your dad, your parents would watch you play and all that good stuff. But deep down inside, when you know that ref shouldn't have made that call, it was the other ref's call, and then he made that call.
That's not their
call. How about when it is your call and the other guy calls it? It's your call. How are you not calling it? That's that guy calling it from back there from half court.
I record these games for on my phone, and I send them to the other parents who aren't there. That's my focus. I want to make sure those parents feel the love of the game of their child playing. So that's where my focus is. But my daughter has a nickname on the team. She's the Honey Badger.
Just stop.
Ooh.
The Honey. No,
it's not the Honey Badger. I'm telling him to stop. It's that every time you say that something that is
These are great points.
that is sweet, he gives you points for it, and it feels like pandering.
Oh my gosh, he's filming the games for his
380,000 photos on my phone right now. I think
you send the videos to the parents that can't make it.
No fewer than 90,000 favorites, because you really got to pare that down. And then I have no fewer than 70,000 videos on my phone, and I send them to the parents that aren't there, or like you said. Long story short, I think there needs to be a more open forum or a TV show where parents learn how to parent and talk about. I'm not teaching them how to parent, but we talk about how to live life with our young athletes and to the best of all of our abilities, because there will be those dark angels on your head when you want to yell at a referee that it's not their call.
Give me a number of titles or ideas that you have in a Google Doc somewhere, because you finally.
I'm doing this now. I'm thinking about. There's 14 show ideas for sure. The first 10 you can just throw out. I get that. But
how about
I'm
children?
definitely
How
gonna
about
be
children books ideas?
You know this about me too. See, this is not an interview at this point. I mean, it's just like I have a series that I want to make that's called Tony Baloney Macaroni. My hair is literally macaroni. It's fusilli. But it's about navigating all the ways of life. It's these stories that have happened in my life. The girl that won the New York City Marathon. I'm going out to brunch with Ride Home, one of his famous brunches. And at this moment, it's the weekend of the New York City Marathon. And they're blocking the road. And I can't get to this famed brunch with our friend. And I have to hop over the fence, or the little gate they have. And while I'm doing this, Dan, I pull my hamstring. I mean, this is an absurd thing. This is a Reali thing. And who comes out and helps me in that moment but my daughter? And then she winds up crossing the finish line before everything else. I just gave you the whole story. Maybe I should have held on to that.
Yeah, should have held. No, you can't give him points for giving away his
Give them
children's
points
books.
for anything.
Look.
I love the idea.
Learn from the best.
Of writing to children. I'm gonna be doing that too. So maybe parent, but this is. I think there's an underserved part of sports media right now where we're reaching the community of people, right? And I think there's more places to do that now. On your own website, on your own podcast, on your own YouTube. Why aren't we doing Around the Horn with normal fans? Why aren't I doing Judge Judy, but for sports debate, and we have normal fans, and I'll even wear, the old English judge wig or something like that. We're having those. I like the emotion of those videos that are on TikTok and YouTube just as much as I like the TV shows that I watch, So I might dabble in that space too, but it would be, pointed at the community that we have of sports fans and the people who want to just live in that sports emotion moment for as long as possible.
I mean, what are we doing here? Masters Sunday, talking about guys' book, retiring Around the Horn. Reali, Rory, talk more about it. Go.
Big voice. I was a big voice. I love big voice.
Stugotz, because Stu's not
He wants you to talk more, Rory. That's the story of the day.
Yeah.
That's the people.
Story of the day is Rory.
Or this show you're pitching. You got to roll for me. 80-20 my way.
I'd have to work on that one. That's good. Yeah. I've been accused by one of our friends here of emotional terrorism, right? You guys ever watch this show, Relative Race?
No.
No. Okay. It may be on BYU TV. It's about these people who are finding their family for the first time. They have gone through adoption or foster homes, and they have met. It is literally, we can make you cry in 15 seconds. I'm not doing that, Chris. Don't accuse me of that. I go to this, and in this show, have you ever watched Love on the Spectrum?
Yes.
Yes, you have, Dan. All right. What are you guys doing with your time if you're not watching these shows? Oh, my goodness. 0 to cry in 15 seconds. Unbelievable. Madison,
Rory,
Georgie, and Connor. So this is to me what I was feeling when I was watching Rory yesterday. All right.
The bot wants you to talk Rory and only Rory. He wants you to give. I know you've given us the syrupy best stuff that you've got already. I know that you don't have a lot more than this, but the bot wants more Rory.
Alligator tears.
Oh, that shot on 17. No, this is not what I'm in here for golf with. I'm here for the feeling and everything. I'm here for what Rory gives. I'm here for Jim Nance's 10-year retirement tour, but those 3 minutes that he took when the mic was off, that was glorious. That was really the best that they can do.
Chris, he doesn't have any more Rory is the problem. Like he
gave us the goods.
He gave you. Look,
alligator tears.
I am familiar. This is one of the things that I don't think people understand about television. The confinement of television make it so that I believe that Tony Reali has spent about 23 years in front of you, and you actually haven't seen the range that he has because his role on that show, and you may have seen it outside of that show and some inside of that show, but the role he has on that show is to set everyone else up. Like it's the whole job, and there's a skill to being a point guard that isn't shooting the ball. And so he is getting in very small spaces. But I would say based on this Rory conversation, he didn't have more. He didn't have it. It was good. It was good that he was in the space where, go ahead, Plashke, you write the poems about what Rory was yesterday. I'll listen to you now.
Dan, I'll give you something on Sunday at the Masters. You know when they're cutting in the final round to Xander Schauffele on a long putt, that's going in. Yeah. If they're going to give you a random Schauffele on a Masters Sunday, you know that thing's going in.
I was talking before you came on here, Tone, about the camera work because, you can say that they nailed it, but there just isn't another sport that has the time, space, and setting to be able to put the cameraman closer to the emotion than any other human being is, than the caddy is, than the people keeping. Like this shot doesn't exist anywhere else in sport.
Yeah, that's true, too. And again, I mean, the mics are everywhere too. You know, when the mic cuts out and somebody's cursing in the background, you're like, oh, I wanted to hear that. I wanted the raw feed of that. This is just an incredible shot of the masses of humanity. And you're like, does he know them? Does he know them? And he was perfect for the role. I got to go get fed for a green jacket. That's a great out. That's an incredible out. Oh, guys. Got to go see a guy about a green jacket. Yeah, he played it perfectly. There's a cinema to this, and live TV, you're not guaranteed that. So to get it like that, just give them the Emmy right now.
Just beautiful.
One of the reasons that it is so majestic, though, because this is so hard to capture around all the cynicisms that we have around sports and all the ways that we're ready to pounce on him with blame about choking. The idea that you could be close enough to see the humanity in his relief, because it's joy, but it's also relief. It's like what that man is doing when he says this is the greatest moment of my golf life is you're seeing in that moment a person who is as happy as he can be and as grateful as he can be, and you're capturing the intimacy of that up his nostrils.
Right. So where else do you get to do that? Where else do you see somebody's greatest moment captured on video? I mean, that's for me. Again, that got me to the point of tears. And I know you guys are jaded, or you've covered enough sporting events. Golf is still fresh enough for me. I don't like it in that way. That this took me over. It just took me over.
Is your wife tired of your crying?
I mean, she's very aware of it. I had a moment where Francesca was born, and I started crying a little bit early because I thought it was her first cry, and it was one of the suction vacuums that may have been used in the process here. Below, yeah. So, that was a little bit much when you're crying over the noises that the doctors are tools. Yeah, that doesn't deserve that one. So that one's a little bit too much. But she knew what I was in from the start. I mean, she knew from the start that this is what she was getting. She doesn't do that. She goes the opposite way. She's the strongest person in the world. So that's why that works.
Tony, I'm a new dad. My daughter was born January 1st, and I find myself crying. Thank you. I find myself crying a lot more than usual. I've only cried 3 times in my life, and I've cried 14 times a month. Is there any new advice you can give a dad? 3 months, she's starting to turn over now. The problem is she can't turn back. Right now, she gets on her stomach. She can't go the opposite way. Any advice for a new dad?
Yeah, lead into all of it. Embrace that. Embrace the crying. I mean, Mike and I have been through this too. We were talking as our kids were born in near proximity to each other. The sheer number of times you get hit in the balls, I mean, that's going to make you cry too. You gotta walk into that. The number of times your kid will actually hurt you. I was sending Mike photos from my vacation last month. and there's a photo of me actually getting injured on camera. And just know that's what parenting is. It's being able to smile through the tears of pain that you're going to have.
I believe I've seen a couple videos from you where I believe you're intentionally making the T-ball baseball hit you somewhere near the crotch.
That happened 10 times already, so I'm going to do it one more time on camera.
Yeah.
The other thing is you're going to chase your kids' laughter. Oh, absolutely. You're going to inflict pain on yourself just so they cry.
When you coming down here?
It's going to have to be after this next spring break. So there's 3 spring breaks. I had no idea. One child was off for a week. Another child was off for a week. It's going to have to be maybe in 2 or 3 more weeks, maybe into May. I keep on getting pushed back. I want to go there and I want to hit the ground running, make some music with Jeremy. I want to.
No one's
before
ever said
you
that.
guys were making your operas, Dan. You'll remember this. So we had Perez Prado as your highly questionable theme song, right? Which we couldn't use because we weren't going to clear Perez Prado, and then we made what Highly Questionable had afterwards, which was our knockoff. But that was one of the first original parodies of a song that the Le Batard family was writing, and I was involved in that. That's what I want to do. I want to go to you guys and make music.
Well, hurry up. Get down here. Good seeing you, friend. Always good seeing you.
Thanks for calling me and thinking me whenever anybody cries. I'm there.
Thank you, sir. Nice seeing you.
As 2 spent swimmers that do cling together and choke their art, the merciless MacDonald, worthy to be a rebel, for to that, the multiplying villainies of nature, do swarm upon him from the western isles. Of kerns and Gallowes glasses is supplied, and fortune of his damned quarrel smiling. Showed like a rebel's whore. Showed like a rebel's whore. But all's too weak for brave Macbeth. Well, he deserves that name. Disdaining fortune with his brandished steel, which smoked a blood with bloody execution.
What? Yes.
Like Valuor's minion carved out his passage till he faced the slave.
I feel your distress. I really do.
Which ne'er shook hands nor bade farewell to him till he uniseamed him from the nave
Rolling. Don't let them deter you.
to the chaps and fixed his head upon our battlements.
Oh, valiant cousin, worthy gentleman.
As whence the sun gins his reflection.
You missed your cue.
Shipwrecking storms and direful thunders break. So from that spring whence comfort seemed to come.
Wait a minute. There wasn't a question mark there.
Discomfort swells. Mark, King of Scotland, Mark, no sooner justice had with valor armed.
Oh, you think he's done?
Humbled
Compelled.
These skipping kerns to trust their heels.
Not compelled. We need compelling.
But the Norwegian lord surveying vantage.
Which is it?
Furbished arms.
Vintage or vantage?
And new supplies of men.
All right, we've
begin a fresh assault.
We've tested his endurance.
Not this. Our captains, Macbeth and Banquo?
And scene.
You almost made it to the finish line. You started leaking confidence. It was not unlike the race outside in Freedom. You were very confident for a moment, and then you fell at the finish line. But
showed his long track.
Excellent, Chris. Excellent. Vintage, vantage.
Long white crap.
Coppled, compelled. Sheets and giggles.
Mike goes to Vegas, gets drunk, and Roy has to finish his hockey segment.
Mike Ryan has landed in Vegas. God knows what time it is right there. God knows if he's slept at all and what kind of intoxicants he's on. But let's just play sound from Mike Ryan. He's not chasing the Jokic brothers in Denver. That's a mean. But let's play the sound before we introduce Mike Ryan and his nice hat.
I'm actually hearing, we're about to play this sound here. I'm actually hearing Mike Ryan is hopping in the Zoom. But let's play this video first to set it up.
All right, is the video ready? Because a lot is happening around here this week. It's crazy. This is a careening clown car that is going to pinball all over the place, and I'm very scared we're going to get in trouble this week because it's hard to keep the lights on, and we shouldn't do any of this stuff live. Let's go ahead and go to Mike's initial report. Was it from the Vegas airport? Was it around slot machines? Where was he? Let's listen in.
Howdy, folks. Just here in fabulous Las Vegas. Have a great time. Just landed. And it's going to create a lot of special content for all you guys out there. It's Sunday Fun Day. The world is our oyster. And we're just getting going. Where's the Tropicana? It's the wrong kind of big cat. Different big cat's going to be taking over the strip. Let's get a drink.
Welcome to the world famous Las Vegas Strip. As you can see behind me,
Man, my battery's dead. No, not. I have a. There's a battery store right in there. Battery store, right? There's a battery store right in there. I'll come back.
Wait.
Be right back. Yep.
No, you want me to get it?
No, I'll get it. I'll get it. Yeah. Be right back. 5 minutes. 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Just 5 minutes.
He's got a gambling problem. That's what this is going to happen.
Hello, Miguel? Michael? Is this Mike? Michael, you want Michael? Is this Mike Ryan? This is Michael's friend. Hey, listen here, okay? D1, okay? Do you know what D1 means? D1 means don't worry about nothing, okay? Don't worry about nothing. Miguel, he's in good hands, okay? That's all you need to know.
He was kidnapped, but we have him in the Zoom.
Reach Mike Ryan. No, you'll see Michael. You'll see Miguel. You'll see him tomorrow, okay? He'll be okay,
man, hey, let him know his producer, John, is trying to reach him.
He'll know. I got you, okay? I'll leave a message, okay? Get some ask, okay? Miguel, Missalo, Tahanalo, okay?
Unbelievable.
Some honey, Tahanalo, okay? Go Panthers, go Panthers, go out. Meow. Take care, okay? Ciao.
I mean, we sent Mike to Vegas on a Metal-Arc account. I didn't know we had sent John Reed to Vegas on a Metal-Arc account. Do we trust him enough to have him in Vegas? I don't know.
Gotta have a producer.
I don't know about that one, Dan.
Mike Ryan, thank you, Tony. I don't know why he's there on an account. Mike, are you sober? What time is it right now in Vegas?
Oh, okay. They got to patch us through.
Mike, you got us?
Mike, are you there Okay, excellent work by you guys. Thank you. I appreciate that
this is a them issue.
Ready to go.
Your concerns have been validated.
But just look at him.
I mean,
holy shit.
I didn't know he was going. I didn't know we could have used him here.
Was that a Haitian accent? What was that accent?
The kidnapper is of undeterminate foreign kidnapping skills and ethnicity.
Well, bad skills if he's in the
like
Zoom.
from Top Gun.
It's just a general threatening accent. Could be from anywhere in the world. Could be any kind of person.
There he goes.
Yes, the Vegas nightclub life is no good for him.
I can't hear. No puedo oír. No puedo oír.
You can hear me. You can. Mike, can you give us a report here from Vegas? Roy's going out for games 5 and 7. We haven't had time to get to Roy's notes. Roy's mistakes. Do you want to go over them with him? Do you guys, Roy, go ahead and handle this segment here with Mike Ryan and talk about our hockey coverage.
Is he at the Waldorf? I mean,
I can't hear them.
All right, Mike. I will try not to go as loud.
Fine.
You got a hangover, so I'm going to go with the mistakes that the Panthers made. So let's go with the Jonathan Marshall show going right now, all right? So both of your D-men went behind the net, both of them, covering one man. That left the front of the net wide open for Jonathan Montesoro. So that's one mistake right there. He had some bad luck with Anthony Duclair blocking a shot, so he was hobbled on the ice, could not get off the ice.
Right.
And Shea Theodore made a move on him at the blue line, turned around, left him in the dust, ended up in the middle of the ice, and the screen in front of Bob could not see the puck. Allowed that
Bob trying to see the puck was one of the great videos.
I thought he was going to start jumping up and down on his skates. Yes.
And then the last mistake here, the Mark Stone goal. Aaron Ekblad tried to clear the puck out of the zone. Puck rolled up on him, ended up being a pop fly basically, and Mark Stone knocked it down with a high stick, which they reviewed. I still think it was a high stick, but
same. They were saying that it's like when he's standing tall, right?
But he's tall
because he's skating. It's lower. Get out of here. If it's above the shoulder, it's a high stick.
Yeah, he leaned to the right, so the shoulder dipped a little bit.
But they're saying if he was standing straight, it would not have been a high stick. That's what they're saying.
The puck was over the crossbar.
They were projecting.
Mike Ryan, your thoughts? Live coverage from Vegas, hungover, 6 o'clock in the morning. Get some sleep. Your thoughts on Roy's mistakes? He still can't hear me? All right. Excellent work, John Reed. Thank you. Now's a good time to take care of the lights and everything there with the last 4 seconds of the segment. Thank you, gentlemen, for all your hard work.
Billy Does.
This episode of the Dan Le Batard Show with Stugotz is presented by DraftKings. DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Our friend John Amaechi has braved our borders and customs restrictions to be here helping us with the all-important meetings. Got to have meetings. Welcome, John. It's nice to see you.
Oh, thank you. Good to be here.
How hard and how much fear was there involved with trying to get over here to hold me in your bosom?
I tell you, the interesting part was a colleague of mine, an academic at another university, recently found themselves stopped, held for 36 hours, and then gently ushered back to France. So since that point, it has made me breathe deeply about coming into the country. And it's not anything about the people of the country. It's just about the process of going through the border. And it's notable to me, I suppose, that I travel to the Middle East for work and places that others might imagine to be more hostile from a governmental point of view. And I feel less stressed than I felt coming in. I've got global entry, right? So I've been double checked. The Home Office has checked me to make sure I'm not a bad person, and so's the U.S. government. And they were all really very pleasant. And so it turns out to be a bit of a nothing. But the idea that stress exists
in America
is really strange for me.
I want to just show you something we've been playing with today, which is Donald Trump saying he is 6'3", 224 pounds, and the pathology of lying, because I'm just putting him next to an assortment of world-class athletes who have a similar weight and size, and there seems to be a discrepancy between how he looks and how they look. The pathology of lying here, as somebody who is a psychologist, what do you make of doing things like this where you're just perfectly okay saying 6'3", 224 pounds when that lie does not meet the eye test?
So I'd say two things. One, hold on. So this is what I'd say about that. Sorry, I'm totally distracted by
that. Was Matt Kugler.
The juxtaposition.
Indeed, it was.
Were you
and believe it or not, the shorts match the shirt.
Oh, that is.
What were you? I've never seen you speechless or not ready to be talking like a professional broadcaster at every moment.
Just that particular shirt, and also the pose. It's like he's part of Trump's entourage.
He's dancing.
Well, that was at Daytona.
He's dancing.
Oh, so essentially then the same thing. Yes.
Mike,
okay.
Why don't you get your gear head so that you could tell us all about the trip you're about to make to Talladega?
Oh, my God. That's going to be incredible.
While John Amaechi gathers his thoughts real quick, yes. It was Bristol, baby. Kyle Larson bounces back from a terrible race at Darlington, which he made the same mistake twice and did not finish. He just totally laps the field. He was the best car by a wide stretch. Wins that race at Bristol. Kyle Larson's second win of the Cup Series team. But yeah, hey, DraftKings is helping me out. I actually go to Talladega because I wanted to stay in the infield because it's NASCAR's biggest party on the circuit. And I waited a little too long to do that. Apparently, you got to get that request in for a long time. But thankfully, my partners at DraftKings heard this was something that I was interested in, worked something out with NASCAR. So I'm going to go there in a camper with 3 of my friends to Talladega Super Speedway for the most bonkers race weekend the NASCAR Cup Series has to offer. It is a trip that I've really wanted to take for quite some time. It is a dream, and it's all being made possible because of DraftKings.
Camper? You're doing a camper?
We got a camper. We got premium RV passes. It's incredible. There's concerts. It's the biggest party on the circuit. So I'm looking very much forward to
John,
this.
you were saying before we interrupted you.
No. So just to be clear, this is the thing where they just go around in a circle, right?
Yes.
And so it's like tailgating at cars going around in a circle.
Well, sometimes it's an oval shape. Sometimes it's maybe more of a triangle. They do have road courses as well. So, it's not always left turns, but predominantly left turns.
Are you there? So is this one of those things where you're there for the party? Because I've met people who go to football and they're there for the party, not for the actual football. Is this one of those things?
I'm there for both. I really do love
And
left
do you
turns.
mean soccer?
No, I meant your football, sorry.
Okay.
Your
Just
football,
checking.
not the real football.
You
I
were
meant-
saying about Trump and the pathology of lying before you got distracted by Kugler's dancing in shirt.
That's still amazing. It's still going to haunt me in my dreams. So the thing that happens with human beings is that the way we think we look is influenced by a lot of different factors. You and I, we all know people who, when they look at themselves, even in the peak of their prime, they see someone ugly and fat and awful. This is a test. This is a test of uncommon difficulty. Is that how you dance?
Stay on point.
It is to Pitbull.
We were trying to figure out what the song was.
Oh my God. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's a Macarena.
I think that's Don't Stop the Party.
Anyway, so people look at themselves and they have no idea what they actually look like. And then there are some people who are surrounded by others who reinforce their terrible idea. So whether it's a child in a family who thinks they're fat and their mother looks at them and even though they're not fat, they says, yeah, you are a bit overweight. And he's got a group of people, a group of sycophants around him who reinforce that he is indeed the same as many of these other figures, and he is muscular and handsome and whatever else. And I don't know that it's the most relevant part of the pathology that I might notice around him.
It's not the most relevant part. It's just something funny that came out yesterday because I can't believe the brazenness of it. Like there is no one on the planet that we would show photos of Trump and they would say that person's 6'3", 224 pounds.
No, but that's what happens with the kind of convergence of power, sycophancy, and this need to grift, right? You're going to do whatever you have to do, say whatever you have to say. This is remarkable.
Okay.
I-Team investigation, by the way.
I don't know what to do right now.
There is a gentleman, not to be outdone, with a beard in the back and the Dale Jr. shirt, and I've been trying to read his lips to decipher which one of the Pitbull bangers might be sung now. I don't think that's Don't Stop the Party. Best I can tell, though, that might be Fireball.
I appreciate the investigation. Continue with the investigation. Before John leaves for more of these meetings that he's helping us with here, I'd like to continue a conversation that we began to have last week about the mental health strain on athletes, whatever it is that you feel fell off of Rory McIlroy yesterday because of however it is that he would feel approaching that initial tee box on Sunday. One of the things that I was talking about was the lopsided nature of what someone like Michael Phelps has to do to be a winner in the lonely swimming category of I've got to do all the disciplined things as a swimmer to live underwater. And I'm not gonna like diagnose him with like autism spectrum, but he's got swimming spectrum stuff where like just being in the water all the time, he is somebody who got so great at that maybe some other things fell by the wayside. And Neil Brennan, the comedian, says, well, of course, it's because the greatest of athletes, they're not mentally healthy. They're insane.
ESPN's always carrying on about how athletes need to have good mental health. And I want everyone to have great mental health, but not athletes. You know what I call an athlete with good mental health? An assistant coach is what I call him. What documentary did we all watch about basketball during COVID? Last Dance, correct. Did Michael Jordan seem mentally healthy to you in the slightest? Giant mansion, one chair. Here's what we learned during The Last Dance. We learned that Michael Jordan's hobby was basketball, but his passion was revenge. It's what fueled him. It's what fuels all the greats, like settling scores and holding grudges. I was at a restaurant recently, and some little kid was crying, and his dad was like, son, just remember, the most important thing in life is to never take anything personally. And I slid in and was like, unless you want to be the greatest basketball player who ever lived. Yeah, if they're great at sports, they're out of their minds. Tom Brady, not well. Did you see him try to play toward the end? Whenever he tried to run, he looked like he was on the toilet and he left his phone in the other room. Tom Brady tried to retire, made it like 10 days. Finally, he was like, I don't know these fucking kids. And they were like, Dad, will you come outside and throw the ball? And he was like, with you guys? No.
Thoughts, Amaechi?
Yeah, so he's right and he's wrong, right? So is there a particular mindset of an elite athlete that would definitely come at odds with what we might expect for the norms of society? Absolutely right. But the very same thing happens with the reintroduction of veterans back into society. The very same thing, because the mentality of being someone who is that kind of disciplined in an environment of that kind of peril creates a mindset that is not exactly normative for mowing your lawn and saying hi to the neighbor and borrowing a cup of sugar or whatever. So yes, you're right. There are some things that shift. However, does this mean that every athlete who's elite has to be mentally unhealthy? Michael Jordan in The Last Dance is not an example of what had to be for him. He made choices that meant that certain key people never appeared in that documentary and refused to have a word to say about it. He made choices. And those choices had consequences, both for him and his sense of being wrongly done by and his sense of having to whatever else, carry all the weight or whatever else. Not every elite athlete has to live in a world of misery and mental ill health. But they are going to be wired slightly differently than what you might expect your next door neighbor.
I thought that Robert Smith, I've told this story before, the great running back who retired early, I thought he was uniquely qualified to retire early because he had a doctorate, had a million different interests, and was walking away from football while he could still walk, while the knees worked. And very soon after losing the discipline of you have to be here at this time, he was throwing up into a bucket by his bed, drinking too much in the morning because the lack of discipline, structure being something that he had been his entire life. By the time he got to 30,
Yeah.
he couldn't deal with what was happening.
Dan, having a hobby outside of your work or even an education isn't what saves you. It certainly isn't what saved me. It's the idea that at no point did I think I was a basketball player. Did I think that's my title and that's my role? It was what I was doing. It wasn't who I was. When your occupation is your definition, that is inherently always problematic. And that's the difference. The difference is that when people call me a basketball player now, I am insulted. I don't lament it. Even when people tell me they can beat me at basketball, I'm amused rather than insulted. This is the nature of this, right? It's the nature of this.
Be amused when I pull the chair, buddy.
You can go now. I'm pulling your chair. You didn't like the chair. You said it was too small. You try to post him up, and he would just move. Good seeing you. Thank you. Thank you for all your help and all of your care.
Investigation did bear out that was indeed Fireball.
Wow.
And
Fireball.
Also, Tony, it looks like Meech literally ran away from the grind.
Can we please talk about what just happened at Tennessee? Because this is the natural Tennessee football. This is the natural ascension of what's going to happen with the chaos of paying for players. Nico, I'm going to leave you now. What's his name?
Yama Leaba.
Okay, so it's not I'm going to leave you. Okay, because he's leaving Tennessee. Now, we talked to Leonard Hamilton about this. He had players boycott on him. Where else has this happened where somebody thinks they're worth $4 million, but the school doesn't feel like they're worth $4 million, and now the portal has largely dried up, and he's going to have trouble getting whatever money he thinks he has earned from another school. 11 of his 19 touchdown passes last season were against UTEP, Vanderbilt, and Chattanooga. So he only had 8 touchdown passes in the big games that Tennessee was playing. What do you guys make of the details of the business of this?
I think the whole thing is honestly kind of sad. I feel bad that people are going to now, like Tennessee fans especially, are going to be really angry with him and blame him for this. And I also understand why you would if you were a fan, because this is someone that Tennessee went to bat for. They obviously spent a lot of money on his recruitment and paying this NIL deal, which, of course, we don't have any of the contract deals in front of us. So we're just going off of what a lot of the reporting is saying about the details of the number and how much he was owed this year and how much he was asking for, et cetera, et cetera. But the fact that a quarterback who took a team to the playoffs, obviously with a lot of help, with a great running back, good coaches, a great defense, would ask for more money and basically not have any leverage to get what he was asking for because of some of the underperformance issues like you mentioned, Dan, and then would just leave and enter the spring portal, which really, really limits your options because a lot of teams already have allocated money for who their quarterback's going to be next fall. A lot of administrators are operating under the fact that the House settlement's going to come through and they're going to have this $20 million cap, soft cap, or maybe it's a hard cap. We don't really know. There's an NIL clearinghouse that we don't have details on, but they're operating under the auspices that, like, we already have decided this is who our quarterback is and we've set aside money for him. And to have to all of a sudden be interested or maybe be interested in Nico and $4 million is what he's asking for this late in the game, like, it's going to be hard for him to find a spot. That being said, it could end up working out for him. He could end up finding a place to play. He could end up getting more money than he would have made at Tennessee. And financially, maybe it works out. I just think that the whole thing is kind of sad, and instead of being mad at him and maybe some bad advice that he could be getting, I think like this is one of the reasons why 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, when all of this stuff was arising as an issue in college football, the NCAA sat on their hands and they didn't really try to come to any sort of conclusion, proactive conclusion about how to prevent things like this from happening. And so here we are with a 20-year-old who's made a really drastic decision early in his career that's going to stick with him for the rest of his life and certainly change the trajectory of his career and a lot of the careers of his former teammates, his former head coach, his future head coach, and et cetera. So it's just a really strange and kind of crappy situation.
When Josh Heupel says no one is bigger than the team and he puts his foot down on you can leave starting quarterback of playoff team, he's doing it because he's not that good, right? He wouldn't be putting his foot down if that was Cam Ward, right?
No, I think he's putting his foot down because he just has to at that point because Nico was engaging in a holdout at that point. Mario Cristobal spoke about this, was asked, a lot of coaches are going to be asked about this, like, what would you do if this situation's like they have to go? You can't establish that precedent.
But what if it's Cam Ward, though?
No, I think it's a good question, Dan. Like, I don't know for sure if they would have let him walk away if he was if he played an outrageously great season last year and they can't afford to see him go, quite literally, because it's going to set them back in a year where they thought they were going to be better and make a playoff and make all the millions of dollars that comes along with it. I don't know if we can answer that, but I think this is, if you're talking about it from a leverage standpoint, he certainly would have had more leverage had he played to the level that I think was expected of him before the season started. But that's just something we'll never know.
But can we try to answer it, though? Because Heupel's making a big show of, like, this is happening throughout sports now. It just happened to champion Michael Malone. Like, we're giving money and power to people not old enough to be trusted with it. And what ends up happening if they don't care about either your program or your system is something like this, where Josh Heupel can now be like, I showed him, and I'm like, well, he's not that good. Like, that wasn't an actual test for you. Like, I know you don't want the discomfort of your starting quarterback leaving, but if you think you can get a better one for that money, that's what the game is now. The game is doing the measurements on value as the coach. The game's not puffing out your chest and no one's bigger than the team.
Yeah, given what they had invested in this player and what his ceiling is, remember, he's still very young in his development, that they're not happy about this. But I don't think it's like I'm making an example about a guy that didn't yet live up to expectations. I kind of think that he did. He's progressing fine. We all thought he would be a little bit better. We thought
But
that
he's
that
20.
offense,
Yeah.
we thought that offense would look closer to what it looked like at the start of the season by the end of it, and that wasn't necessarily the case. But he's
And
very
also,
young.
yeah, worth mentioning, a lot of drops. Like his adjusted completion percentage is like 72%, something like that. And the drop rate was higher than like a lot of other top teams. But yes, like it's certainly not his best games against Georgia, certainly Ohio State, and the teams that you would have liked to see him play well against.
Yeah, are there upgrades potentially available around the nation? I don't know. When you talk about availability, it is just going to be funny when they no doubt get in the weeds and talk to people that perhaps won't even enter the portal, right? And they're going to play a pretty dirty game in trying to upgrade at that position too. But I understand why Josh Heupel said this. Mario Cristobal's direct quote was, "I don't care if it's the best player in the nation. You can't have this going on." Now, he might have figured that out from our experience with Tyler Van Dyke a couple of years ago, where this popped up during a spring window and Tyler Van Dyke wasn't really in the portal, but was invoking some of these things like he may look to go elsewhere. Miami did indeed bring him back. Look, there's a lot of people that flirt with this, that leverage their NIL collectives that you never hear about entering the portal. I would say the vast majority of people that have NIL deals leverage situations that they're technically not allowed to because they're not in the portal yet. It's the threat of going into the portal. And to Jess's earlier point, they still don't have this settlement. Many people, if I'm representing a student athlete that can command big NIL money, I would say this might be our last chance to fully max out here on a market that is still pretty wild and unsettled. Before rev share comes in and before people get started being slotted into cap spots, you may want to go out there and maximize your leverage while you still can.
I'm a little worried about Jessica. I'm loath to admit this publicly, but I think she's addicted to scratch-offs.
I had a wild weekend, okay? So I had a bunch of singles that I found in my nightstand.
Hell yeah.
Like $30, probably from the fine bucket, probably from when I won the fine bucket. And I was like, what am I going to do with like 30 singles? I don't know. I don't use cash that much. Let's buy some scratch-offs. So Lehman and I went and we bought some scratch-offs. You could get a lot of scratch-offs for $30. So we ended up with like a stack of like 15 scratch-offs. And I won $50. And one of the scratch-offs, every single thing that I scratched off was a winner. That one alone was $15. And I got a little hooked. And I was like, should we go back? Should we get $50 worth of scratch-offs now?
Especially since you already took one stack and closely doubled that.
Exactly. So then we went back. We got $50 worth of scratch-offs. I got another huge stack. And there's this crossword scratch-off game where you scratch off the letters and then you cross off in the crossword, like the letters. If you get enough words, you get more money. So if you get like 3 words with your letters, you get $20. If you get 4, you get $30, whatever. I got 4 words. So I won $30 just on that ticket alone. And then I did like 10 Monopoly scratch-offs and I won another $27. So I ended up with $47 now. I think, I don't know. I just said the math wrong, but it was $47. So we went back and we got more scratch-offs. So now I'm like 30 scratch-offs deep on Sunday.
Where were you going to get them? Like a 7-Eleven or
Millam's?
Okay.
Yeah.
Millam's.
Millam's?
Always Millam's. Never what you said.
I thought it was Millam's.
Yeah, you're wrong.
Dan?
Tomato.
What do you think?
He doesn't go there.
Millam's.
Thank you, Dan.
The way that I recently got grabbed, and I don't know what money you ended up with, but this is sort of the way that gambling empires are built with your money. I went and got lotto tickets, I would say, for the first time in like 35 years and immediately won $600.
What?
Yeah. Whoa. I couldn't believe it.
I mean, I feel like I'm single-handedly paying for the education system in Florida. I assume that's where the lottery winnings go, but I really have no idea.
Bullshit.
I don't know where your money went, but I had to go someplace. They don't even pay you. After $500, you have to go to like a specific
like Tallahassee.
place.
It says it on the back. It's like, if you win more than $500, you have to mail this to Tallahassee. I'm like, what?
I
That's
spent
crazy.
as much in gas to go to the place I had to collect my winnings just because I wanted to collect the winnings, but it was a pain in the ass with traffic to get over there. And then the next time I played, I didn't get but a couple of numbers, and all the money went away. Did you end up quitting ahead?
No, we went back and we were like, well, this was found money. Let's just keep going. Why not? So we got $47 worth of scratch-offs back at the store, came home, scratched them all off. no winners.
Nothing.
What do you use to
But
scratch? Are you a key?
It was a lot of fun. Lehman has this BCS National Championship pin from the last BCS National Championship game when he was covering it at Sports Illustrated. It's got the perfect little hard metal edge.
Nice.
Yeah, it was perfect. It was really nice. Although we were fighting over at one point. I like took all of them and I was like, I started going. He's like, I want to do some of these. And I was like, but I want to do them. And then we were fighting over who's going to do all.
What
the
do you guys
scratch-offs.
think is the most used utensil to scratch off? Is it a key or a coin?
Penny.
Key, because
Key.
you got to do it at the actual facility,
House
right?
key.
At the Publix or
House
whatever.
key.
No, we took them home, Roy. This was an event. Like we were taking our time. We were enjoying ourselves.
Pour a glass of wine. Do your scratch offs.
No.
I'd like to sample the audience. Let's put that on a
No,
poll.
I will, but know what, Roy?
No. I'm doing it right there because if I win, I'm turning it in at the Publix right there so I can get my money. If it's less.
There are two strategies. There are the people that just scratch it right there. I'm with Jess though. If I'm gonna do it, it's gonna be a whole thing. We're gonna bring it home. Have a
3
nice
questions
moment.
then for the poll. Number 3, are you addicted to scratch-offs? Number 2, on scratch-offs, do you use a key or a coin? Do you have another applicant here? And then
A BCS National Championship pin from the 2014 game.
And then the third one, do you do the scratching off in the store or do you do it at home at Le Batard Show?
The other option is a fingernail.
That's boy, that's
Fingernails
crazy.
Insane. Gross.
Don't do that.
You are a monster!
Wash your hands afterwards.
A monster! Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Do you use your fingernail on the scratch
You
off?
staying strong with it, Roy, or are you backing
Or
off?
do you judge others as monsters who
I got
use
my
their
key.
fingernails?
You got your key to wipe the gunk off from underneath your nail bed?
Are you? Are any of you guys inserters instead of tappers on the credit cards?
Hell yeah.
It's a great question.
Yeah, excellent question.
I mean, you're definitely if you're still swiping in this day and age, you're just a monster.
We're all tapping it.
Sometimes you want to tap it first before.
I'm pro tapping, but there's these every once in a while you find the one. It's like where am I supposed to tap? You're like all of a sudden you're like hovering your card.
That's why I'm an inserter.
Yeah, but then with the inserting, all of a sudden you get the terrible feeling of, sir, it's not in enough. Can you really get it in there more?
Hey.
And you got to like hold it in there. It's just it's more of a dangerous game, the inserting. I'm a tapper.
So I saw this news story on a local news channel about those credit card readers, specifically at gas stations, that if you insert your card, anytime I go to a gas station now, I fiddle with the credit card reader a little bit. And one time I found one of the fake ones that was there to scan the card. It just so happens I go to a gas station that the scanner wasn't working because I'd much rather tap. So you had to insert. So at that one, I would always play with it. And one time, one of those fake contraptions that was stealing people's identities fell off. I'm like, oh my God, I'm glad I watched that.
What are we looking for with the rattle? Like when you say you shake
If it comes off.
If it comes off,
It shouldn't come off.
Like it was overlaid over the proper credit card reader. And I shook it, and the plastic part just came off. It's a credit card skimmer that pulled it. I'm like,
That shouldn't be allowed.
Thank you, PSA.
It isn't.
It's not.
I think that most of you might think, and it would be a reasonable assumption to make, that I am an inserter just because I'm old and because the credit card gets inserted someplace. The reason that I am an inserter is because I am so tired of the number of times that the tap is inefficient or not working, and I just want to avoid the inefficiency.
You're like, am I doing this right? Where do I hover? Where do I put this?
The inserter always works. The tapper works. I don't know what percentage of the time, but for me, it's not very often.
I hear you. But for me, like, it's also way more sanitary. So I always like to try, like, give it a wave once or twice.
But when I'm inserting, I'm like now I'm just staring at this thing, waiting for the words "remove card" to pop up. It's like it's just such a stressful thing. Whereas with the tapping, you see the little lights go across it that light up. You're like, all right, I'm nailing this.
Yeah, but the sanitation and the security that comes with tapping for me just outweighs the negatives, even if it's not working.
What's
properly.
the sanitation of inserting?
I'm with you, Dan. There's nothing better than
At a
good
gas
when
station?
you insert that thing right though. If there's nothing better, like in terms of just feeling you get.
I disagree. There are other insertions that are feeling better than that one. I
Go
don't
on.
know why you would say that that's the greatest of all of the
No,
feelings.
I'm saying in the paying world, there's no better feeling in the paying world than when you insert that thing right and you feel that back wall.
I would say that one of the things that's happening here, surely you guys have noticed this with self-checkout.
I'm going to go talk to Amaechi.
See you later. I don't know what it is that you guys see with self-checkout, and I don't know. I've told you a number of times that I am in the line at the grocery store with other people, and I'm looking at the line for cashiers, and everyone's older than me. I'm the youngest person because most young people are now self-checking out. But I will tell you that just about every damn time I self-check out, I have to go get somebody to help me because these 3 things didn't scan correctly. This barcode didn't work correctly. We're at a point in the technology. This happened with cell phones, right? Before cell phone towers were everywhere, people became addicted to using cell phones in their car, and therefore there were some inefficiencies in how the cell phone worked because the technology was not yet in the place where it needed to be so that you can make a proper phone call that connects every time. It would be hit or miss. I feel like we're in this place in a lot of places with technology. Do I have it wrong as it regards self-checkout? Because this is another place where I stand in line and I feel old in the line I'm standing in, but it's not because I'm old. It's because I don't trust the machinery over there to be as efficient as a human being.
I'm with you. It's rarely efficient. It demands I put it in a bag. It's like, no, I'd like to carry these 2 items out of the store. It's like, please put it in the bag. You can't scan your next item until it's in there. It's like, no, I'm just holding it, okay?
Just put it in the
You
bag.
don't tell me where I'm putting it. If I have enough items that I need a bag, I'll put it in the bag.
The issue is that the person who's doing the checkout at the grocery store is usually old too. And like, I need to go. Like, I'll scan these 17 items quicker than you can scan the 3 items and then another 3 items and then Dan's 16 items that he's got to get celery. Oh, where's the barcode on the celery? I don't know where the celery is. All you got to do is tap the thing. You type in celery. Celery. Oh, it's 13 cents a pound. Perfect. Boom. All right, next.
There are people that know what they're doing, and there are people that don't. Like, there's nothing better.
That's in life.
When you get the person that the person they're walking up to the thing, boom, boom, you're good to go. Like, and then you get the person that every once in a while where it's like, this is going to take 9 months.
Okay, I don't know if Tony is right about this. Put it on the poll, please, at Le Batard Show. Is the cashier always old? Because I don't think that what he's saying is true there.
They could either be really old or really young. Yeah. Like a high school job, too.
Well, they're not good jobs. This is one of the things that I find fascinating about what's happening right now with tariffs. I simply don't understand why all of America isn't self-aware enough to know that Americans in general are too lazy to do these jobs that nobody in America wants to do, that they're willing to do more cheaply overseas because Americans do not want to do these jobs because these jobs suck and they do not pay enough.
There was an excerpt I read from a person that was in Donald Trump's previous administration that tried to repeatedly, because every time they would talk about jobs, Donald Trump has a perspective when it comes to manufacturing, that Americans want to work in factories, that there is some dignity in this, and it's like an America of a bygone age. And he would pull all the data and tell them every time, nobody wants to work in factories. People are more likely to up and quit their job if it's at a factory more than any other industry. But there is a general disconnect, and it's not just Donald Trump, because you may think that that's coded. I actually saw a study in which Americans think, Americans would be better off if more people worked in manufacturing. 80% of Americans agreed with this study. I would be better off if I worked in a factory. Only 25% of Americans agreed.
This is one of the things that's happening, and I've seen this in Florida, right? When storms come and take away entire cities. If you kick all of the migrants and all of the workers out of Florida who rebuild, we will have no one to rebuild it. It just won't. It will not get rebuilt by Americans willing to do these shitty jobs.
Oh, but that's why we have exemptions now.